Another next big thing, another guru promising $1 million idea. Honestly, I'm tired of chasing trends. There has to be a more practical way to build something real. What if the path to out-earning your 9-to-5 isn't glamorous at all? What if it's boring? In introduction, we're all conditioned to think that a business has to be exciting, high-tech, or at least Instagram-worthy. But my friend Maxwell found the complete opposite is true. It's sick of chasing crowded trends. He went looking for a real-world alternative, and he discovered that some of the most reliable businesses are the ones nobody ever talks about. They're the services that restock supplies, change batteries, fix office chairs, update table tents, and mark warehouse floors. They are painfully boring. Nobody brags about running a business like this, but that's their secret power. When a problem is boring, annoying, and happens over and over, business owners don't want to deal with it. They just want someone reliable to make it go away. A normal job pays you for your time. A boring business, on the other hand, pays you for solving a recurring problem. It pays you for building a system. A job pays you when you show up. A boring business can eventually pay you because a system shows up. Now, before Maxwell even considers an idea, he runs it through his boring business filter. To make the cut, a business has to have 10 specific traits. First, it solves a problem that keeps happening. Second, it serves a clear business customer. Third, the service is dead simple to explain. Fourth, you don't need a tear-jerking sales pitch. Fifth, it's a recurring need, not a one-off. Sixth, it has zero glamour. Seriously, none. Seventh, there's a super obvious before and after. Eighth, you can build a route around it. Ninth, the whole process fits on a checklist. And 10th, you can eventually hire someone else to do it. Maxwell isn't looking for the next world-changing startup. He's just looking for a headache that customers are already desperate to get rid of. Airbnb supply restocking service. Maxwell walks into a short-term rental and sees it. A host scrambling before a guest checks in. The cabinets are bare, no toilet paper. Soap dispensers empty, coffee's gone. This isn't just stress, it's a business opportunity. The business? An Airbnb supply restocking service. Maxwell helps rental hosts keep their properties perfectly stocked guest after guest. His customers are the hosts, the property managers, or even the cleaning crews. Why would they pay for this? Because running out of toilet paper leads to a 1-star review, and a bad review can tank a host's entire business. Hosts are paying Maxwell to eliminate that anxiety for good. How does he start small? He makes a simple restocking checklist, partners with a cleaner, and offers to swing by after each cleaning to top everything off. He doesn't own the property, he just owns the reliability. The money comes from a per-visit fee plus a small markup on the supplies. He can even offer monthly plans for hosts with several properties. Now, don't get hung up on the numbers, but just as an example, if he charges $25 per visit and hits 10 properties twice a month, that's $500 in service fees alone. The model works because every guest turnover is a new service call. The system is just a checklist for each property, an inventory sheet, and maybe some before and after photos to show the host the job is done. The biggest risk? Timing. If he shows up to restock a dirty room, he's going to have an angry client. Flawless coordination with the cleaners is everything. Airbnb supplies are all about guest experience. But this next idea is all about safety. Rental property smoke alarm battery route. Picture this. A landlord gets another call about that annoying high-pitched beep from a smoke alarm. The tenant is irritated, the property manager needs a record of the fix, and the owner is tired of emergency calls for a $2 battery. This business is a rental property smoke alarm battery route. Maxwell offers to replace smoke alarm batteries, test the alarms, and document the maintenance on a regular schedule. The customers are landlords, apartment managers, and property owners. Why do they pay? In most places, working smoke alarms are a legal requirement, but they're an absolute nuisance for landlords to track. Maxwell provides not just the service, but the proof, the documentation that shows the job was done right. How does he start small? He offers a simple battery replacement and alarm check route every 6 or 12 months. He's not waiting for the beep, he's preventing it. Money comes from a per unit or per property fee. An annual service plan is a no-brainer. Let's say Maxwell services 50 units in one building at $10 a pop. That's a quick $500 for an afternoon of work. The route builds on itself because batteries always expire. The system involves a master list of units, a service calendar, and photo proof for the owner's records. Now, the main risk here is huge: liability. Be crystal clear that you're just replacing batteries and testing the alarm button. You are not certifying the building's fire safety system unless you are legally qualified and insured to do so. Know your limits. Smoke alarms only get attention when they fail. This next business is similar. Restaurants only notice these supplies when they're gone. 3 restaurant Smallwares restocking service. Maxwell watches a restaurant manager in the middle of a dinner rush. They're out of gloves, takeout containers, and receipt paper. The kitchen slows down and the manager is losing their mind. The problem is real, but the items are tiny. The business is a restaurant Smallwares restocking service. It keeps restaurants, cafes, and food trucks stocked with all the small but critical supplies they burn through. Why do they pay? Restaurants are pure chaos. The manager can't just abandon the line to run to a big box store for receipt paper. They pay Maxwell to keep their operations running without a hitch. How does he start small? He lands one restaurant and creates a weekly checklist for them. He doesn't need to be a massive distributor. He just needs to be the guy who shows up on time with the right stuff. The money comes from a delivery fee and a markup. A monthly supply management plan makes it even stickier. For example, if he serves 5 restaurants and charges a $30 visit fee, plus a $15 markup on supplies, that's over $200 for a few hours of driving around. The repeat business is fantastic because restaurants chew through these items daily. The system is just a supplier list, knowing the reorder point for each item, and a weekly route. The biggest risk? In margins. He's not selling cheap gloves, he's selling the priceless convenience of never running out. Restaurants aren't the only places running on empty. So are most public restrooms. 4. Public restrooms supply route. Maxwell walks into a local shop's restroom and sees the classic signs of neglect. Empty soap dispenser, no paper towels. A small problem, but it's having a huge impact on the business's image. This business is a public restroom supply route. It's a simple service that keeps restroom supplies topped off for small businesses like offices, gyms, clinics, and local shops. Why do they pay? A gross restroom kills customer confidence. If a customer sees an empty soap dispenser, they'll wonder what else the business is neglecting. They pay Maxwell to keep their restrooms looking professional and clean. How does he start small? He offers a weekly check and refill service. He's not cleaning the toilets, he's just making sure the soap, paper towels, and toilet paper are always full. The money is in a monthly service fee plus a supply markup. He can run a weekly route and even add on dispenser repair or replacement as an extra service. If he services 10 locations at $40 a month each, plus a $10 markup on supplies, that's $500 in recurring revenue. The need is constant. The system is a simple route schedule, a supply checklist for each location, and recurring billing. The biggest risk is scope creep. He needs to be perfectly clear about the service. If a customer expects a full cleaning but he only restocks paper, the relationship is doomed. Restroom supplies are about customer experience. This next one is too, but for a totally different crowd. 5. Gym equipment wipe station restocking. Maxwell sees it happen every day at the gym, an empty wipe station right next to the treadmills during peak hours. Members are annoyed, and the staff is too busy to notice. The gym owner knows this is a problem. The business? A gym equipment wipe station restocking service. Maxwell makes sure the wipe dispensers, spray bottles, and hand sanitizer stations are always full. The customer is any fitness studio, apartment gym, or corporate wellness center. Why do they pay? Eat a clean gym is a non-negotiable for member retention. Empty wipe stations make a gym feel gross and can lead to cancellations. They pay Maxwell to make sure the gym always feels clean and safe. How does he start small? He offers a scheduled refill service. He's not cleaning every machine. He's just owning the wipe stations. Money comes from a monthly fee and a supply markup. He can run a simple route and lock in contracts for multiple locations of a gym franchise. Again, for example, 8 gyms paying $50 a month, plus a $15 supply markup each, is over $500 in monthly revenue. The need is constant because members use these wipes every single day. The system requires a checklist for each station, a refill schedule, and photo proof for the manager. The main risk? The gym might think, oh, our staff can handle that. Maxwell has to prove that his dedicated never-fail service is way better than piling another task onto a busy front desk employee. Alright, the first 5 businesses were all simple restocking routes. Now, let's shift gears. The next 5 are where Maxwell gets into simple repairs and higher value commercial accounts that could really change his income. 6. Office chair repair route. Walk into any office and you'll see a graveyard of wounded office chairs, broken wheels, sinking seats, torn armrests. The office manager is frustrated, employees are uncomfortable, and the company is dreading the cost of buying all new chairs. This business is an office chair repair route. It focuses on simple fixes that save companies a ton of money. The customers are offices, co-working spaces, schools, and clinics. Why do they pay? A good office chair costs $300, $600, or even more. A simple repair might only cost $50 to $100. The company is thrilled to pay Maxwell to save a fortune and keep their team comfortable. How does he start small? He masters the most common repairs, swapping out casters, gas cylinders, and armrests. He doesn't need to be a master upholsterer, he just needs to be an expert on the top 3 problems for the top 5 chair models. The money is in a per chair repair fee plus a markup on parts. He can even offer a monthly office health visit to check for wobbly chairs. For example, if he repairs 10 chairs in one office visit at $60 a chair, plus a $10 part markup each, that's $700 for a single visit. Chairs are always being used, so they're always breaking. The system requires an inventory of common parts, an inspection checklist, and a clear price sheet. The biggest risk is knowing when to say no. If Maxwell tries to fix a chair that's truly a lost cause, he'll just end up with an unhappy customer. This shows that companies hate replacing things if a small fix will do. And restaurants have the exact same problem with their fridges. 7. Commercial refrigerator gasket replacement. Maxwell spots a restaurant cooler door that just won't seal shut. Cold air is pouring out, driving up the energy bill and putting thousands of dollars of food at risk. The owner is worried about spoilage and their next utility bill. The business is commercial refrigerator gasket replacement. Maxwell specializes in replacing the worn-out rubber seals around cooler and freezer doors. The customer is any business with a commercial kitchen, restaurants, bars, hotels, you name it. Why do they pay? Bad gasket can waste a surprising amount of money on electricity and could lead to a catastrophic loss of inventory. Plus, health inspectors look for proper seals. They pay Maxwell to fix the seal, save them money, and keep them compliant. How does he start small? He learns how to identify bad gaskets, measure them perfectly, order the right replacements, and install them quickly. He doesn't have to be a full-blown refrigeration tech. He just has to master this one crucial task. Money comes from an inspection fee, a per gasket replacement fee, and a markup on the part. If a restaurant has 5 coolers that need new seals and he charges $80 per gasket, that's $400 in service fees plus his part markup for one visit. Gaskets always wear out, so the need is baked in. The system depends on a precise measurement process, good relationships with suppliers, and a service calendar to remind clients when they're due for a checkup. The main risk? Measuring wrong. An incorrectly ordered gasket is money out of his own pocket and a major blow to his credibility. While restaurants need to keep things cold, warehouses need something even more fundamental: a safe and clear path to walk on. 8. Warehouse safety tape and floor marking service. Maxwell walks into a warehouse and sees faded floor lines, confusing walkways, and messy loading zones. The manager is pulling their hair out. It's not just inefficient, it's a safety hazard. The business is a warehouse safety tape and floor marking service. Maxwell applies and maintains durable floor tape for walkways, hazard zones, and inventory lanes. His customers are warehouses, factories, and distribution centers. Why do they pay? Clear floor markings are critical for safety and efficiency. A well-marked warehouse is a safer, more productive workplace, and it helps them stay compliant with safety regulations like OSHA. They pay Maxwell to make their space look professional and function safely. How does he start small? He starts with smaller warehouses that just need a simple tape refresh. He doesn't need a giant crew or expensive equipment, just a good eye for straight lines and knowledge of how to properly apply industrial floor tape. Money comes from project fees plus a markup on the tape itself. A recurring refresh service is a great add-on. Single small warehouse project could easily be worth $1,500, and after a $300 material markup, that's $1,800. The work is repeatable because tape gets destroyed by forklifts and foot traffic. The system requires a solid measurement process, a layout plan, and knowing the standard safety color codes. The biggest risk is not knowing the regulations. If he uses the wrong color for a specific hazard zone, he could cause the warehouse to fail an inspection. A little research goes a long way here. Floor markings organize a warehouse. This next business provides what it needs to get products out the door. 9. Pallet wrap and shipping supply restocking. Maxwell sees a small e-commerce warehouse grind to a halt. They've run out of stretch wrap in the middle of a busy shipping day. Orders aren't going out. The manager is panicking. The business is literally losing money by the minute. The business is a pallet wrap and shipping supply restocking service. Maxwell keeps warehouses stocked with the essentials they need to ship products: stretch wrap, packing tape, boxes, and labels. Why do they pay? It's simple. When shipping supplies run out, the business stops. They lose money and customer trust. They pay Maxwell for the absolute reliability of never running out. How does he start small? He builds a weekly restocking route for a few small warehouses in his area. He's not trying to compete with Yulin on price. He's competing on service and being the reliable local guy. Money comes from a markup on the supplies and a restocking fee for the convenience. For example, servicing 6 warehouses with a $40 visit fee and a $20 markup on supplies each time could add up to a full day's work with very predictable revenue. The need is constant because as long as they're in business, they're shipping. The system is just a tracker for each customer's inventory levels, an account with a bulk supplier, and a route schedule. The main risk is trying to compete on price. Maxwell has to sell the no stockout guarantee, not just cheap supplies. Warehouses need supplies to ship products. Restaurants need a simple way to talk to customers sitting right at the table. QR code table tent management. Maxwell's sitting in a cafe and sees it. A dirty, stained table tent with a QR code from 2 years ago. The menu link is broken, and the special offer expired last Christmas. The owner wants to fix it but has no time. The business is QR code table tent management. Maxwell designs, prints, places, and most importantly, maintains QR code table tents for local businesses. It's a simple, low-cost alternative to fancy digital menus. The customer is any restaurant, salon, or clinic that wants to connect with customers at the counter. Why do they pay? Businesses know they need to give customers an easy way to see the menu, leave a review, or follow them on social media. But they almost always fail at keeping the physical materials looking fresh and professional. They pay Maxwell to manage this silent salesperson for them. How does he start small? He designs one clean, professional table tent package and sells it to one local restaurant. All he needs is a design template and a good relationship with a local printer. Money comes from a one-time setup fee, a markup on printing, and a small monthly fee for updates and replacements. If he manages table tents for 15 local spots and charges a modest $30 a month, that's $450 in recurring revenue. The need is ongoing because promotions change, links break, and table tents get covered in ketchup. The system requires design templates, a way to track all the QR codes and links, and a monthly refresh schedule. The biggest risk is that business owners think they can just do it themselves on Canva. Maxwell has to sell the result. Better presentation, more online reviews, and more time for the owner to run their actual business. Through all of this, Maxwell learns a crucial lesson. Boring problems repeat, and repeat problems create repeat customers. Business customers in particular provide far more stable, recurring revenue than one-time consumers. The real money isn't in flashy ideas, it's in being reliable. Maxwell realizes that boring doesn't mean small, it just means most people are too distracted by shiny objects to notice the money sitting right there. Why most people ignore these businesses. So why doesn't everyone do this? Because these businesses aren't cool. They're hard to brag about at a party. They often involve physical work and being on time. Every time. They are the opposite of passive income on day one. But here's the thing, business owners don't pay for cool. They pay for problems to disappear. The market doesn't reward what looks exciting, it rewards what solves a problem consistently. Maxwell's practical startup plan. For anyone ready to stop chasing trends and start building, Maxwell has a simple roadmap. Step 1, pick one business from this list. Just one. Step 2, pick one customer type to focus on. Restaurants, offices, or landlords. Step 3, make a list of 50 potential customers in your area. Step 4, create a dead simple one-page offer that explains what headache you solve. Step 5, talk to 20 of them. Get feedback before you spend a dime. Step 6, land one single customer to prove your service works. Step 7, document every single step of your process. Step 8, turn that documentation into a checklist. Step 9, set up recurring billing from day one. Step 10, reinvest your profit into better systems and eventually hiring your first employee. The goal isn't to look like a big company. The goal is to become incredibly useful to one customer who will have the exact same problem again next month. If you want a part 2 where I break down exactly how Maxwell would start one of these boring businesses, step by step, comment BORing plan below. Like this video if it changed the way you think about business ideas. And subscribe to Maxwell Explains Money for more stories that make making money make sense. Because the business that pays you better than a job might not be the one that looks impressive. It's the one that quietly solves a boring problem. Again and again and again.